Does true love still exist?
Tom King, a 35-year-old billionaire, sat in his luxurious living room, sipping a glass of wine. The grand view of the city through his floor-to-ceiling windows didn't bring him any joy. Despite his wealth and status, his heart remained empty. He leaned back and sighed heavily. "Money can't buy love," he muttered.
Over the years, he had dated beautiful women from all over the world, but they all wanted the same thing: his money. They didn't see him as a man, just a bank account. One evening, his childhood friend and trusted lawyer David dropped by. Tom opened up to him, his voice filled with frustration. "David, I've had enough. I want real love. Someone who sees me for who I am, not my wealth," Tom said. David nodded, understanding his pain. "It's not easy, Tom. But what are you planning to do?" Tom leaned forward, a sudden sparkle in his eyes. "I'm about to open the biggest bank in the city. It's going to be grand, state-of-the-art facilities, highly qualified staff. But I'm not going to be the billionaire owner. I'm going to be a cleaner." David raised an eyebrow. "A cleaner? Are you serious?" "Yes," Tom said. "I'll change my name to Jack. No one will know who I am. I want to see how people treat me when I'm just an ordinary worker. I want to find someone who respects everyone regardless of status. This is my chance." David laughed, impressed. "That's quite the plan, but are you sure you can pull it off?" "I have to. I'll apply like everyone else as a cleaner, and you will handle the public announcement saying the owner is out of the country. I want to blend in, David. No one must know." David agreed. "This will be interesting. I'll support you." The day finally arrived. The bank's grand opening was the talk of the city. Highly qualified managers, tellers, financial analysts, and accountants were all present, dressed in their finest. David, dressed sharply in his suit, addressed the new employees. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the grand opening of Starlight Bank, the biggest in the city. The owner is currently out of the country, but he trusts that you will all do your jobs with dedication and professionalism. This bank will be under strict management, and the owner expects nothing but the best from every single one of you." The staff applauded, feeling proud to be part of such a prestigious bank. Many of the tellers whispered to each other, already boasting about how lucky they were to be employed in the largest bank in the city. Some even looked down on the cleaners standing quietly at the back, including Tom, now known as Jack. One of the senior tellers, Karen, adjusted her crisp uniform and scoffed. "Imagine working as a cleaner in a bank like this. Some people have no ambition," she whispered to her friend. Tom, in his simple cleaner's uniform, didn't react. He had to remind himself that he was here to find someone genuine, someone who didn't look down on people based on their jobs. Another cleaner, a grumpy old man named Harold, nudged him. "New here, huh?" Tom nodded. "Yes. Just started today. Be careful around these tellers. They act like they own the place," Harold warned, rolling his eyes. Tom smiled. "Thanks for the advice." As the day went on, the staff settled into their roles. The managers discussed their schedules and financial procedures. The tellers gossiped and bragged about their qualifications, and the cleaners, including Tom, quietly started their tasks. Karen, who had been promoted to the head teller, walked into the main hall and nearly bumped into Tom, who was mopping the floor. "Hey, are you blind? Watch where you're going," she snapped, glaring at him. Tom quickly apologized, keeping his head down. "Sorry, I didn't see you." Karen huffed. "You cleaners are all the same, lazy and clumsy. This bank deserves better." Tom bit his tongue, remembering his role. He didn't want to reveal his true identity just yet. As he continued mopping, he noticed other tellers laughing at him from behind. They seemed to enjoy mocking the cleaners, feeling superior just because they wore smart uniforms and had finance degrees. During lunch break, Tom sat in the staff cafeteria, quietly eating his meal. The cleaners had their own small table at the corner, while the managers and tellers occupied the larger, more comfortable space. One of the managers, Mr. Kevin, strutted past, glancing at the cleaners with disdain. "Unbelievable. They let anyone work here now?" he muttered to his colleague, loud enough for Tom to hear. David, who was secretly watching from the management office, couldn't help but shake his head. Tom's really going to see the true colors of people here, he whispered to himself. Tom couldn't help but feel disappointed. Most of the staff were full of pride, looking down on those they considered beneath them. He wondered if there was anyone in the bank who genuinely respected people, no matter their status. As the day drew to a close, Tom wiped down the bank's glass entrance doors. His mind was filled with thoughts. Would he ever find true love, or would he always be surrounded by people who only valued wealth and status? Little did he know, his journey was just beginning, and fate had a way of revealing unexpected truths. The sun was hot that afternoon. Inside the big bank, the cleaners were busy wiping floors and windows. But the tellers, oh no, they were not working. They were standing in groups talking, laughing, and showing off. One teller said loudly, "Can you believe it? We are working in the biggest bank in the city. Ah, my village people will hear it today." Another one laughed. "I even posted it on Facebook. Susan now working in Starlight Bank. My ex will cry." They all laughed loudly. Karen raised her voice. "Let me tell you all, not everybody can work here. We are the best of the best. Those cleaners should know their place and not talk to us anyhow. This is not their level." The other tellers nodded, agreeing with her. Tom, now using the fake name Jack, was mopping the hallway floor not far from them. He heard everything. They were so proud of themselves, but none of them had manners. They looked down on cleaners like they were nothing. Jack cleaned quietly. He didn't say anything, but deep inside, he was shaking his head. Later that evening, after work, Jack sneaked into a small office where David, his friend and lawyer, was waiting. David smiled when he saw him. "Ah, my billionaire cleaner. How was your first full day?" Jack removed his cap, wiped his face, and sighed. "David, I'm tired. These people, these tellers, some of them are very rude. You need to hear the way they talk to cleaners like we are animals." David laughed hard. "Welcome to the world of a common man, my brother. Now you see how it feels." Jack shook his head. "I thought maybe, just maybe, I'll meet someone real. But with what I've seen today, I don't think true love exists. Everyone is proud, everyone is fake. They only smile when they think someone is rich." David looked at him and smiled. "Jack, or should I say Tom, calm down. The world has both good and bad people. Maybe today you met the bad ones, but who knows? Tomorrow might be different. Keep watching." Jack sighed again. "I'm not even sure I can survive this. Do you know one called me a blind goat today because she nearly slipped on the wet floor?" David burst into laughter. "Blind goat? This your story will be sweet when it finally ends. Just be strong, my friend." Jack smiled faintly. "Anyway, I'll keep going. But if by the end of the week I don't see any good person in that bank, I'll just give up on love and marry money like the rest of them." David laughed again. "Let's see how it goes." The next day, very early in the morning before others came in, Jack arrived with his mop and bucket. He liked coming early. It gave him peace before the noise began. As time passed, the same proud tellers walked in, heads high, heels clicking. Karen entered and shouted, "Where's the cleaner? This floor is dusty. Do you want customers to fall and die? Come out now." Jack came out quickly and bent down to clean. "Sorry, Ma. I will clean it now." Karen hissed, "You better, or I'll report you to the management." The other tellers laughed again. One of them whispered, "See him? He even smells like bleach. I can never date a man like this in my life. Imagine me, Jessica, dating a cleaner." They laughed louder. Jack kept quiet and did his work. As he mopped, one of the male managers passed and stepped onto the wet floor. "Are you stupid? Why didn't you put wet floor sign?" he barked. "I'm sorry, sir. I'll place it now," Jack replied calmly. "Use your head, not your back," the manager added. Jack looked up for a moment, but quickly looked down again. He smiled softly to himself. If only they knew who I am. Later that day, David sent a message to Jack through WhatsApp. "How's day 2 going? Any good people yet?" Jack replied, "Nope, just pride, insults, and eye service, but I'm still watching." David sent a laughing emoji and wrote back, "Clean it, Tom. May God strengthen you." Jack dropped his phone and looked around the bank again. Everyone was busy showing off, but he was still waiting for someone who will look at him and smile, not because of his uniform, not because of money, but because they had a kind heart. In the same big city where the largest bank had just opened, lived a young woman named Sarah. Sarah was a single mother. Her father, a poor widower, had trained her with sweat and tears. They were very close. Her father sold firewood and old radio parts just to feed Sarah and pay her school fees. Sarah had always dreamt of working in a big bank someday, but life was not easy, yet they managed. Sarah didn't have a mother. She died when Sarah was just a little girl, but her father did everything he could to make Sarah feel loved. Years later, something terrible happened to Sarah while she was still in finance school. A man she trusted took advantage of her. He forced himself on her and left alone. She cried for weeks. It broke her spirit, but not her strength. She found out she was pregnant. Many people told her to drop out of school, to forget her dreams, but Sarah refused. Many people told her to drop out of school, to forget her dreams, but Sarah refused. "I will have my baby and still become an accountant," she said. Her father stood by her side. "You are my daughter, and you are strong," he told her. She carried her baby, went to school with a big belly, and after she gave birth to a baby girl, she continued schooling. Her classmates mocked her, but she never stopped. Years passed. She graduated. She had no fancy shoes, no rich relatives, but she had hope. One evening, Sarah came home with a flyer in her hand. "Dad, see, Starlight Bank is hiring," she said with excitement. Her father's tired eyes lit up.
"Is that not the big bank we always hear on the radio?" "Yes, Dad. They're hiring an accountant. I will apply tomorrow." He hugged her tight. "God will do it. You will get the job." The next morning, Sarah wore her only neat dress. She tied her daughter's hair and gave her food. Her neighbor agreed to watch her little girl while Sarah rushed out. She walked quickly, her CV in a small brown envelope. Sweat poured down her forehead, but she didn't stop. By the time she got to the bank, people were already seated. She walked in, panting. "Please, I came for the accountant job." The receptionist looked up. "You're late. The position was just given out 10 minutes ago." Sarah froze. "What?" she whispered, her eyes wide. "We already picked someone else. Sorry." Sarah stepped outside. She sat on the bank step and burst into tears. No, I had so much hope. What will I tell Dad now? That I came late and missed the job?" Her sobs caught the attention of someone. Harold, the older cleaner who worked with Tom, now Jack. He walked up slowly. "Young lady, are you okay?" Sarah wiped her eyes quickly. "I missed the job. They already gave it to someone else. I don't know what to tell my father. He believes I'll return with good news." Harold looked at her and saw something different. "You look like someone who needs a chance, not pity." Sarah stood up suddenly and said, "I can't go home like this. I'll take any job in this bank. I'd rather be a cleaner than go home and see Dad's face drop." Harold blinked. "You want to work as a cleaner?" "Yes. Please help me talk to someone." Sarah walked back into the bank with bold steps. "Excuse me, Ma. I know the accountant job is taken, but I can clean. I can mop. I can do anything. Just let me work." The admin officer was surprised. "You're a trained accountant, but you want to clean floors?" Sarah nodded. "I need this job. My daughter and my father depend on me." The officer looked at her for a while, then handed her a form. "Fill this." Sarah smiled for the first time that day. Later that day, Jack, Billionaire Tom, was mopping the back hallway when he saw Sarah in a cleaner uniform. She looked new. She bent down and started scrubbing with strength and seriousness. She didn't complain. She didn't look ashamed. Jack watched from afar. Something about her spirit caught his attention. Harold came beside Jack and whispered, "That new girl, she's an accountant. Missed the job. Asked to be a cleaner instead. She said she'd rather clean than go home jobless. That girl get fire for body." Jack smiled softly. "Interesting." Harold laughed. "This bank is full of drama. Every day new story." Jack kept his eyes on Sarah. He didn't speak to her, not yet. But deep inside, something told him, keep watching her. That night, Sarah returned home. Her daughter, Molly, ran to hug her. "Mommy, you're back." "Yes, my love." Sarah lifted her up with a tired smile. "Mommy got a job and I started working immediately." Her father smiled from his wooden chair. "I told you God will make a way." Sarah hugged him, tears of relief in her eyes. "It's not what I hoped for, but it's a start." Her father held her hand gently. "The job doesn't matter. It's the heart you carry into it that counts."
Sarah wiped her tears and nodded. At least it's something. I can't stay jobless. I know this is not the job I wanted, but who knows? Maybe one day if there's a space I can still apply. At least I'm already inside the bank. I'll keep my eyes open for any chance. Her father smiled and nodded. Yes, my daughter. Step by step, God is watching. Sarah looked at her daughter and smiled. For now, we thank God. It's better than nothing. And with that, they all sat together to eat the little food they had, with hope in their hearts. It was Sarah's second day working as a cleaner at Starlight Bank. She tied her scarf tight and bent down to scrub the floor at the teller's station. Her back ached, but she kept going. She didn't complain. She was just happy she had something to do to earn small money for her daughter and father. Suddenly, loud voices filled the hallway. Karen walked in with two other proud tellers, Jessica and Amanda. They were chewing gum, laughing, and holding cups of cold juice. As they passed by, Amanda stopped and looked closely. Wait, is that not the girl that came for the accountant job? She asked. Karen turned. I think she is the one. Jessica shouted. Hey, you came for an accountant job and now you are holding a mop and bucket. Ah, life is not fair. They burst into loud laughter. Cleaner Sarah, Karen said mockingly. You should have stayed at home if you knew you were not qualified. See now, you wanted to be an accountant and ended up a mop girl. She has no ambition, Jessica added. A whole Starlight Bank. And you think we'll hire just anybody? Please go and clean the toilet, Joa. Sarah didn't answer. She kept scrubbing. Her eyes were hot, but no tear dropped. After mocking her, they laughed again and walked away, hips swinging proudly. A few minutes later, Jack, billionaire Tom in disguise, walked in with Harold. He had heard and seen everything. Harold hissed. These tellers are too proud. One day they will fall down from that there high horse. Jack walked closer. Sarah, are you okay? Sarah looked up and gave a small smile. I'm fine. That's nothing. I've seen worse. Jack and Harold sat beside her on the bench. Sarah dropped her mopstick and sat too, breathing deeply. I was trained by my widowed father, she said quietly. I know what hunger is. I know what shame feels like. When I was pregnant in school, people laughed at me. My classmates said I'd never graduate, but I did. So these tellers' words, it doesn't shake me. Harold nodded slowly. You're a strong woman. I respect you. Jack smiled. You don't have to prove anything to them. What you're doing now, raising a child, working hard, that's bravery. Just then, Sarah's phone rang. She picked it quickly. Hello? A worried voice came from the other side. It was her neighbor. Sarah, come quickly. Your daughter is not feeling well. She's burning up. She's been vomiting. She's very sick. I think you need to take her to the hospital. Sarah jumped up. Oh no. Jack stood immediately. What happened? Sarah's voice shook. It's my daughter. She's sick. I have to take her to the hospital, but I don't have any money for the deposit. She grabbed her bag and ran from the hallway, heading straight for the main bank lobby. She ran to the front of the teller line, crying, Please help me. I work here. I'm a cleaner. My daughter is very sick. I need to take her to the hospital. I need an emergency salary advance for the hospital deposit. Karen looked up, her lips twisted in annoyance. An advance? Don't be ridiculous. Salary advances are only for full-time staff after 6 months. You're a cleaner and you've been here 2 days. It's against policy. But my daughter is sick, Sarah begged, crying now. Please, I'll pay it back from my first check. I just need the money for the hospital. Amanda hissed loudly. Go and get a loan from a pawn shop. This one is a high-class bank, not a charity. Sarah stood shocked and heartbroken, not knowing what to do. Just then, Harold and Jack, Tom in disguise, arrived. They saw the scene. Harold's eyes went wide. What is happening here? Sarah, in tears, explained everything. Jack stepped forward. She works here. Her child is sick. Can't you give her an advance first and sort the policy later? Karen turned sharply. Cleaner Jack, don't talk where serious people are talking. Jack frowned. What's wrong with you people? A child is sick. Why can't you help her? Jessica laughed. Since when did cleaners start giving orders here? You that push mop around. You now want to tell us how to manage bank funds? Jack stood his ground. I don't need to be a finance expert to know this is wickedness. Amanda snapped. Then pay for her treatment, ogre cleaner. or keep quiet. Harold stepped forward, fuming. How can you all be so heartless? Even if she's a cleaner, does that mean her child should die? Karen hissed. Harold, since all your life you've been cleaning, what have you achieved? You want to teach us kindness now? Please shift, Harold shouted. Even with my mop, I have more heart than all of you with your keyboards. Sarah just stood there crying, rocking back and forth. Suddenly a soft but firm voice came from behind. Excuse me, what's going on here? Everyone turned. It was Mr. Wilson, the kind-hearted operations manager, known for minding his business but doing his job well. He looked at Sarah, who was sobbing. Karen stepped forward. Sir, this cleaner is requesting an advance, but she's not eligible. It's against policy. Mr. Wilson raised his hand. She works here, doesn't she? He looked at Sarah's desperate face. Your child is sick? Go. Take her to the nearest hospital. He then signed an emergency payroll override slip and handed it to the teller. Authorize this. Now. He turned to Sarah with a calm smile. It's okay. Go. Get your child treated. We'll sort the paperwork later. Sarah's eyes widened. Thank you, sir. Thank you. She took the cash and ran out of the bank. Jack looked at Mr. Wilson and gave a nod of respect. The tellers hissed and walked away, grumbling. So, cleaners are winning today, Amanda muttered under her breath. Jack stood there, deep in thought. He looked toward the teller station. So much pride, so much wickedness. Then he looked at the door Sarah had run through. So much strength, so much love. Jack slowly smiled, and in that moment something inside his heart moved. He wasn't sure what it was yet, but he knew this. Sarah was different. Later that day, Karen, Amanda, and Jessica were gathered again, sipping juice. Their faces were full of pride, as usual. Karen crossed her legs and scoffed. Can you imagine? Mr. Wilson has now turned Starlight Bank into a charity center. Jessica nodded quickly. Yes, giving an unauthorized advance to that cleaner. Amanda dropped her cup and hissed. One day the owner of this bank will show up, and guess what? I will personally report Mr. Wilson to him. He's giving out the bank's money like it's his father's compound. They all laughed. I'll tell the owner that some people are turning his big bank into a free-for-all center, Karen added, twisting her mouth. Don't worry, Amanda replied. That day is coming. The owner will come, and all of them will be shocked. Meanwhile, in David's office, Jack, who was really Tom, walked in, shaking his head and laughing bitterly. David looked up from his laptop. Ah, my billionaire cleaner is back. What's the latest gist? Tom pulled a chair and sat down heavily. David, you won't believe what I'm seeing in this bank. David smiled. What? I still can't believe the management hired these types of wicked and heartless tellers. If you see the way they treat people, I'm shocked. No respect, no compassion. David laughed. But they were all qualified during the interview, and with good finance degrees. Tom shook his head. These ones are not tellers. They are trouble in uniform. David laughed harder. So have you met any good person yet, or are they all evil? Tom's face suddenly softened. He looked down for a moment and smiled. Actually, yes, there's one person. Her name is Sarah. David raised a brow. Sarah? Yes, Tom replied. She came to apply for the accountant job, but she came late. She took a cleaner job instead, didn't complain, didn't grumble. David's face changed. Really? Tom's voice dropped. Then today, her daughter fell sick. Sarah came to the tellers begging for an advance for the hospital. The same tellers insulted her, mocked her, and refused to help her because of policy. David frowned. What? Tom continued. I felt so helpless, so angry. But then Mr. Wilson showed up. That man didn't ask about policy. He signed an override. He gave her the money, no delay. David nodded slowly. That's Mr. Wilson for you. He's the operations manager, very soft-hearted. He's not like the others. Tom smiled again. I thank God I still have one good manager left in my bank. David leaned back. And Sarah? What do you think about her? Tom paused, then said softly, Sarah is different. She doesn't wear pride like the rest of them. She has suffered, but she's still gentle. She's strong, but not loud. You can feel her pain, but you also see her courage. David folded his arms and smiled. Humph, my friend is falling for a cleaner. Tom laughed. No. Oh, I'm just observing. David smirked. Observation leads to admiration, then attention, then affection. Tom pointed at him playfully. If you say one more word, I'll transfer you to the vault. They both laughed. Then David leaned forward. Seriously though, Tom, let's not forget your plan. You wanted to find someone who would love you without knowing you're rich. Someone who sees you, not your wallet. Tom nodded slowly. Yes. The next day, Jack found Sarah in the cleaner's room. She looked tired, but her eyes were brighter. Jack, I was looking for you. Sarah, are you okay? Your daughter. Oh, Jack, she's much better. The hospital treated her and she's resting at home. Mr. Wilson, he saved us. I'm so grateful. Jack smiled. I'm so glad she's okay. You're a strong woman, Sarah. Don't ever forget that. Sarah smiled softly. I just want to do my best for her and for my father. Jack nodded. You've done well. Don't let the noise of proud people make you forget your worth. Sarah looked at him with teary eyes. You talk like someone who knows pain. Jack smiled faintly. Let's just say I've seen the world, and the world is not always kind. They both sat quietly for a while. No words, just understanding. 2 days later, Sarah's daughter Molly was fully recovered. Sarah looked at her and smiled. God, thank you. I will never forget how Jack, Harold, and Mr. Wilson stood by me. That morning, Sarah woke up early and cooked a small pot of jollof rice with fried plantain. It wasn't much, but it was made with love. She wrapped it nicely into 3 plates, one for Jack, one for Harold, and one for Mr. Wilson. Later that afternoon, Harold and Jack were seated behind the bank building, resting. Sarah walked up to them with a shy smile, carrying the food. Good afternoon, my friends, she greeted sweetly. Jack smiled. Ah, Sarah, the strong woman. Harold chuckled. See her face like someone hiding something. Sarah laughed. No. Oh, I just brought small food for you both. It's nothing big, but it's my way of saying thank you for being good to me, for helping me, for standing by me and my daughter. She handed them the plates. I know it's small, she added, but please manage it. Jack opened his plate and sniffed. Huh? Jollof rice with plantain. Sarah, you've just made my day. Harold was already digging in. This one no small-o. This is celebration food. They laughed and ate happily. After the food, Sarah and Jack continued talking while Harold went back inside. Sarah looked at Jack. You've been very kind to me, Jack. But tell me, who are you? Really? I mean, why did you choose to be a cleaner? Jack looked at her, his face calm but thoughtful. Well, things haven't been easy for me. I searched for jobs everywhere, but nothing came. No connection, no help. So I decided to work as a cleaner to help myself. I just couldn't stay at home doing nothing. Sarah nodded slowly. Are you a graduate? Jack replied. Yes. Sarah blinked. Then don't stop applying. Don't give up on your dream just because life is hard now. She placed her hand gently on his shoulder. Look at me. I'm a trained accountant, but I'm sweeping bank floors. Why? Because I still have hope. I believe that one day there will be a space for me. So I keep applying. This cleaner job, it's temporary. I won't die here. Jack stared at her, speechless for a moment. Sarah smiled. Don't give up, Jack. Promise me you'll keep trying. Jack nodded slowly. I promise. They both smiled at each other. For the first time in a long while, Jack felt like someone believed in him. Not the billionaire, not the cleaner, but the man inside. Just then, a loud, distressed shout echoed from the reception area. No, that's wrong! My money is gone! You've stolen my money! People rushed out to see. An elderly man was at the counter, shaking and waving a handful of crumpled receipts. Karen and Jessica were there. Sir, please calm down, Karen said coldly. The numbers are correct. You'll have to file a formal complaint. I don't understand these numbers, the old man cried. It says my account is almost empty, but I just deposited my pension. You're thieves! Jessica rolled her eyes. Sir, if you can't read your statement, that's not our problem. Now please step aside.
Sarah, who heard the commotion, dropped her mop and ran forward. "Sir, what's wrong?" she asked gently. Karen snapped. "This is bank business, cleaner. Go away." But Sarah ignored her. She knelt beside the man. "Sir, let me see." The old man, seeing her kind face, handed her the receipts. Sarah's eyes scanned the papers quickly. "Ah, I see," she said calmly. "It's okay. You see this charge here? It's a duplicate. And this deposit here was posted to the wrong account code. It's just a clerical error." In less than a minute, she had organized the slips and scribbled a clear reconciliation on a napkin. "Madam," she said, handing the napkin to Karen, "if you'll check, you'll see transaction 405 was double-posted, and deposit 22B was miskeyed. The gentleman is correct. His balance is off." Karen stared, speechless. Just then, Mr. Miller, a senior manager, walked over. "What's going on here?" He looked at the napkin, then at Sarah, then at the computer screen. My goodness, she's right." He fixed the error. The old man's correct balance appeared. He burst into tears of relief. "Thank you," the man said to Sarah. "Thank you, young lady. You have a head for numbers and a heart of service." Sarah smiled, tears in her eyes. Jack stood at the back watching everything, and for the first time he felt proud, not just of Sarah, but of the choice he made to come here. Later that day, the old man's son, a lawyer, came to the bank. He hugged Sarah warmly. "I don't know what would have happened if you weren't there," he said. "Those tellers nearly gave my father a heart attack. You, who they call a cleaner, were the one who acted like a real professional. God will bless you." A few customers who were standing nearby clapped. One cleaner even whistled loudly. Jack, watching quietly from a corner, smiled to himself. Harold was right, he thought. This girl really get fire for body. News spreads fast. By evening, almost every department in the bank had heard the story. Even in the manager's lounge, people were whispering. "Did you hear that one of the cleaners fixed a major account error in the lobby? I heard she's a real accountant, but wasn't hired. Why didn't the other tellers help?" Meanwhile, at the teller's station, Karen, Jessica, and Amanda sat with puffed cheeks and crossed arms. Amanda hissed, "All this noise over nothing. So she fixed an error. And so—" Karen scoffed. "It's not like she flew to the moon. We fix errors every day." Jessica added with her sharp tongue, "She's just looking for attention so management will feel pity and promote her. Very soon she'll start forming financial genius in uniform." They all laughed loudly, pretending they didn't care. But inside, they were shaken. Karen crossed her legs and snapped her gum. "Let me catch her tomorrow. I will remind her she's still a cleaner." The next morning, Sarah arrived early as usual, dressed in her cleaner uniform. She greeted everyone politely. Jack and Harold were already seated near the entrance. Harold waved. "Ah, our new financial analyst." Sarah laughed. "Please leave me." "Oh, I'm just a cleaner, remember?" Jack smiled. "Cleaner by uniform, accountant by heart." Sarah looked at them, then said, "Honestly, I was only doing what was right. That man was in pain. Nobody was helping." Harold shook his head. "The world needs more people like you," Sarah sighed. "But now I hear people saying I only did it to show off, that I want management to notice me." Jack leaned forward. "Let them talk. People will always talk. The important thing is you did the right thing." Sarah looked at him for a long moment. "Thank you, Jack. You always know what to say." He smiled faintly. "Maybe I've been in this world longer than you think." They both laughed. Upstairs in the management office, Mr. Miller knocked and entered David's office. David looked up. "Mr. Miller, good to see you." "I need to talk to you about someone," the manager said. David sat up. "Go ahead." "There's a girl working here as a cleaner. Her name is Sarah, but sir, she's a trained accountant. Yesterday she solved a complex account dispute right there in the lobby while other tellers stood and watched. The customer and his family are fine because of her." David's eyebrows lifted. "She's smart, calm, and clearly knows what she's doing. Honestly, she deserves better than a mop." David nodded slowly and smiled. "Thank you, Mr. Miller. I'll look into it." As soon as Mr. Miller left David's office, the door opened again. Jack stepped in. David looked up and smiled. "Ah, perfect timing." Jack walked over and sat down.
What happened? David leaned forward, lowering his voice. That was Mr. Miller. He came to talk about Sarah. Jack's face lit up with interest. What did he say? David replied. He said she deserves more than a mop. She solved an account dispute in the lobby. Everyone was watching, but she acted. He said she's calm, smart, and clearly trained. Jack nodded slowly. He's right. I saw everything with my own eyes. David looked at him closely. So what do you want to do about it? Jack paused for a moment, then spoke quietly. It's time. David blinked. Time for what? Jack smiled. Time to reveal who I really am. David leaned back in shock. Seriously? Yes, Jack said. I've seen enough. I've watched the proud, the lazy, the wicked, and I've seen the good, especially Sarah. David crossed his arms. So how do you want to do it? Jack stood up and looked out the window. Not suddenly. I want you to announce that the bank owner is finally back in the country and will be visiting the bank soon. David grinned. I see. So, you want them to sweat first? Jack smiled faintly. Exactly. Let's see how they act when they think the boss is coming. Later that afternoon, a message was sent through the bank's group chat and posted on the main board. Attention all staff. The owner of Starlight Bank has officially returned to the country. He will be visiting the bank very soon. Please remain professional and ensure all departments are in perfect condition. At the teller's station, the news hit like thunder. Karen dropped her cup. Wait, the owner is coming? Amanda screamed. What? When? I need to fix my hair. Jessica stood checking her reflection on her phone. I need new lashes before he arrives. He must notice me. Amanda jumped up. I'm buying a new wig this evening, a fine curly one. That man must not think we are local. Karen adjusted her uniform. From now on, no one should play. The owner must see us as serious, beautiful, and hard-working. They all started acting busy, walking fast, speaking in soft tones and pretending to care about their duties. Outside the bank gate, Sarah and Harold were standing under the small mango tree near the gate, talking and enjoying the cool evening breeze. Sarah sighed. The sun today was too much. Harold laughed. This sun wants to roast me like groundnut. They both smiled. Just then, Jack walked up to them holding a water bottle. He looked at them calmly. Have you heard? Sarah and Harold turned. Heard what? Harold asked. Jack looked at them both. The bank owner is visiting soon. Harold nodded. That's good. It's about time. At least we'll see him face to face. Sarah said nothing at first. Then she looked up and said, I just hope he is kind. Jack turned to her. Why did you say that? Sarah looked down for a second, then said, Because some rich people don't care. They build banks but don't know what's happening inside. I just hope this one cares and handles this bank with wisdom and love. Harold nodded in agreement. She's right. Many owners only care about money. Jack stood still, speechless for a moment. He stared at Sarah, at her honest eyes, and at Harold, who had always spoken from the heart. He didn't say anything. He just smiled quietly. But inside him, something deep moved. She had no idea she was talking to the very owner she was worried about, but instead of feeling insulted, Jack felt something warm in his chest. She wasn't wrong, but he promised himself that he wouldn't be like that. He would be different. He would prove Sarah wrong in a good way. It had been 3 full days, and Jack had not shown up at work. No one had seen him. No one had heard from him. Sarah stood near the staff locker area, wiping her hands on her apron. Her face was tight with worry. She looked around once again, hoping she'd see that familiar, gentle smile walking down the hallway, but no sign of him. She turned to Harold, who was fixing a mop stick nearby. Harold, have you heard from Jack? Did he tell you he won't be coming to work? Harold shook his head slowly. No, not a word. I've been worried too. He didn't say anything to me and we don't even have his phone number. Sarah sighed deeply. Who knows if he's okay? How can someone just disappear like that without telling anyone? She lowered her voice, panic in her tone. What if those rude tellers report him to management? They might deduct his salary or even sack him, and he didn't even ask us to cover for him. Harold frowned. It's strange. That boy never missed work before. Maybe something is wrong with him. Sarah nodded quickly. This is serious. 3 days is too long. We need to tell the management before someone else does. Just as they were talking, Karen came marching toward them, her high heels tapping loudly. Her face was firm. "Where is that your friend Jack?" she asked sharply, folding her arms. Sarah quickly answered, "He's not feeling well. He told management. He took an excuse." Karen squinted. I hope so. Because the owner of this bank can arrive any day now, and this is the 3rd day Jack has been absent." She pointed a finger. "You better call him. Tell him to return to work tomorrow or else he may lose this job." Sarah smiled weakly. "Okay, Ma, I will." Karen hissed and walked away. Sarah turned to Harold again, her worry now deeper than before. "Harold, I think I need to go to management myself, before that woman makes trouble." Harold nodded. "Go, please. Before she writes her long complaint, just say something to protect him." Sarah nodded. "I was thinking the same." Harold pointed toward the main building. "Go straight to the top floor. That's where the management offices are. Ask for Mr. David. He handles most staff issues." Sarah nodded and walked away. Later that day, Sarah knocked gently on David's office door. "Come in," David called out. She stepped in, hands folded in front of her, eyes a little nervous. "Good afternoon, sir." David looked up. "Yes, how can I help you?" "My name is Sarah. I'm one of the cleaners in this bank. I came to speak about my colleague, Jack." David leaned forward, interested. "So, he hasn't come to work for 3 days now, and we don't have any way to reach him. I don't know if he's sick or something happened, but he has never missed work before. He's a good man. Please, sir, don't deduct his salary. I truly believe something is wrong." David stared at her for a few seconds. He was silent, studying her face. Sarah added softly, "If you know anyone that can check on him, please do." David nodded slowly. "Thank you, Sarah. I hear you. Don't worry, I'll look into it." Sarah smiled with relief. "Thank you, sir." She turned and walked out. David sat back, still thinking. Then he whispered to himself, "Tom is lucky to find someone like her." Later that evening at Tom's mansion, David stepped out of his black Jeep and knocked on the giant wooden door. Tom opened the door himself, wearing a plain shirt and joggers. "David, what's up?" David chuckled. "I came to visit my billionaire cleaner." Tom laughed. "I needed a few days to clear my head. I've been thinking a lot." David walked in and sat down. "Well, while you've been thinking, someone has been worried sick about you." Tom raised a brow. "Who?" David smiled slowly. "Sarah." Tom blinked. "Sarah?" "Yes. She came to my office today. Said you've been missing at work for 3 days and that she doesn't have your number, but believes something is wrong. She begged me not to deduct your salary." Tom sat down slowly. David added, "She said you're a good man, and that she's sure you wouldn't disappear without reason." Tom looked away, his heart beating a little faster. He looked down, a small smile forming on his lips. David continued, "That girl, she truly cares about you. It shows in her face, in her voice, that kind of care. You don't find it often." Tom nodded slowly, still smiling. "I'll see her soon." The big day had come. After weeks of pretending, hiding, watching and waiting, Tom King, the real owner of Starlight Bank, was finally ready to show the world who he truly was. The bank was sparkling clean that morning. The tellers stood neatly dressed, their faces full of expectation. The managers had lined up. Staff whispered from one corner to another, "The owner is coming today. I heard he's young and very rich. I just hope he doesn't sack anybody." Sarah was at the back of the building, cleaning the windows quietly. She had no idea what was going on inside. She hadn't seen Jack for days, and it made her heart heavy. Why did he leave like that, she thought. Inside the bank lobby, the elevator dinged. Everyone turned. A tall, handsome man stepped out, dressed in a sharp black suit, sunglasses on his face. Behind him was David, smiling proudly. Gossip filled the air. "Wait, is that him? I know that face. Is that Jack?" Harold stood, eyes wide open. No, that's not possible." Tom removed his glasses slowly. He walked with calm boldness through the crowd. Karen, Jessica, and Amanda froze where they stood, mouths open like they saw a ghost. Karen whispered, "Jack, is Tom King?" One teller almost fainted. Harold dropped the mop in his hand, his mouth shaking. "I've been working with a billionaire and didn't know it." Tom turned and smiled gently at him. "Thank you for being real, Harold." At the back, Sarah turned when she heard her name. Sarah. She looked up and dropped the rag in her hand. Her heart froze. "Jack?" she said softly. He walked toward her. "No, not Jack," he said gently. "My real name is Tom King. I own this bank." Sarah took a step back. "No, stop." Tom stepped closer. "Please, let me explain." Her eyes filled with tears. "Explain what? That you lied to me? That you made me trust you while you hid your true self?" Tom's voice broke. "I only wanted someone who will love me for me, not my money. I didn't mean to hurt you." Sarah shook her head, a tear dropping down her cheek. "You lied to me, Tom. You stood by me when my daughter was sick. You sat with me. You ate my food. And now I find out it was all a test? No, Sarah, it wasn't a test. It was real. I was myself with you. Every word, every moment was real." Sarah wiped her face. "I don't know who you are anymore. You say you're Tom, but I only knew Jack, and Jack is gone." Tom took a step closer, but Sarah picked up her bag. "I'm sorry. I can't do this." And with one long look, she turned and walked away. The bank fell silent. Staff who had gathered stood still, watching. Karen and the rude tellers couldn't even breathe. "She turned him down," Jessica whispered. "She walked away from a billionaire," Amanda said in shock. David slowly walked to Tom, who stood still, looking at where Sarah had disappeared. David placed a hand on his shoulder. "Let her go, Tom. She's in pain, but she will come around. She just needs time." Tom's eyes were red. He didn't say a word. He had everything money could buy, but now it felt like he had lost the one thing his heart had truly found. Tom, the billionaire and secret owner, stood like a statue, his heart broken in front of the entire staff. But that wasn't the only shock of the day. All the tellers, managers, cleaners, and admin workers now knew the truth. Jack, the cleaner, was Tom King, the real boss they had never seen. In the teller's room, Karen sat on a chair, pale like someone who had just seen a ghost. She held her chest. "God, we mocked him. We insulted him. We chased him with mop and water buckets." Amanda paced around. "I called him names. I told him he smelled like bleach. I told him he was just a cleaner." Jessica covered her face. "He heard us laugh at Sarah. He watched us refuse her advance." Karen looked at them, her voice shaking. "We are finished. That's the billionaire, and we treated him like rubbish." Amanda cried. "He even mopped floors with us laughing behind him. Who would have imagined?" "I'm sure he won't forgive us," Jessica added. In the manager's lounge, some managers also stood in shock. Mr. Ben, who once shouted at Jack for the wet floor, was sweating. "That was him, and I told him to use his head, not his back." Another manager whispered, "He's been watching all of us this whole time." Mr. Wilson, who had authorized Sarah's advance, simply sat quietly. He wasn't shocked. He was proud because he had done the right thing when no one else would. 2 hours later in the bank, David stepped forward and spoke loudly. "All staff, report to the general lobby. The owner, Mr. Tom King, wishes to address everyone." They all came, everyone. Managers, tellers, cleaners, technicians, even kitchen staff. They stood in rows, heads bowed, fear written on their faces. Tom walked in slowly, now in a smart traditional outfit. His eyes scanned every face. No smile, no jokes, silence. He stood in front and spoke in a calm, deep voice. "When I decided to open this bank, I wanted a place where every person mattered, rich or poor, big man or small cleaner. But what I saw broke my heart. Some of you tellers and managers carry pride like a badge. You mocked people who came for help. You laughed at pain. You treated cleaners like trash." Tom's voice became sharper. "A staff's child was sick. Instead of showing care, you showed cruelty. Instead of kindness, you mocked her." Karen bit her lip, shaking. Tom continued. "The purpose of this bank is not to wear fine suits and walk with pride. It is to serve people, to help the weak, to care for our community. If your heart is not in this job, you have no business being here." A few tellers burst into quiet tears. He turned and pointed gently. "But some of you shone like gold in the middle of the darkness. Mr. Wilson, you acted with compassion. You treated a person not based on policy but on need. You are promoted to Senior Vice President of Operations." Everyone clapped. Mr. Wilson bowed quietly. "Mr. Miller," Tom continued, "you saw a colleague's skill, not just her uniform. You brought Sarah's work to my attention. You will now be the head of internal audits." More claps. "Harold." Tom looked at the old cleaner with soft eyes. "You earned my deepest respect. You spoke when others were silent. You stood with the weak. You've served long enough. From today, you are promoted to Staff Welfare Supervisor. You'll never touch a mop again." Tears rolled down Harold's cheeks. "Thank you, sir. Thank you." And finally, Sarah. Everyone turned. Tom looked at the empty space where Sarah used to stand. He cleared his throat. Sarah came here hoping to be an accountant. She came late, but she didn't leave. She took a mop instead. And yet, when a customer was in distress, she acted like a trained accountant. She solved a problem our own staff ignored. His voice shook slightly. "From today, Sarah is the new head of customer accounts." The crowd clapped. Some clapped in shame, some in joy. But Sarah wasn't there. Tom looked at the crowd again. "Let this be a lesson. Never judge people by what they wear or where they work. Because that cleaner beside you today might just be your boss tomorrow. This bank will change. From today, we will no longer walk in pride, but in purpose. If you cannot show kindness to the least among us, you are not worthy to wear this bank's uniform." Karen burst into tears at the back. "I'm sure he will sack me. I was the worst." Jessica whispered, "Let's beg him." Amanda shook her head. "After all we said to Sarah, after all we did to Jack, I don't think he will forgive us." Meanwhile, Tom looked around, but his heart was not at peace. He had said what needed to be said. He had done what needed to be done. But Sarah, the one person he wanted to see, was gone. He looked out the window, his heart heavy. "Where are you, Sarah?" 2 days later, Sarah was at home, lying weak on her small mattress. Her eyes were puffy from crying. She hadn't eaten. Her daughter Molly sat quietly beside her, holding her mother's hand. Her father paced around the small room, worried. Suddenly the neighbor rushed in, holding a phone. "Sarah, Sarah, you're on the news. Come and see." Sarah sat up slowly, her body still weak. The TV volume was turned up, and there it was. In a dramatic turn of events at Starlight Bank, the true identity of the bank's owner, Mr. Tom King, was revealed. He had worked undercover as a cleaner for several weeks. In his official speech, he promoted several people, including a young woman named Sarah, who was once mocked by staff. Sarah has now been made the head of customer accounts. Sarah gasped. Her hand covered her mouth. "Head of customer accounts?" Her father jumped with joy. "My daughter, you did it. You finally made it." Tears rolled down her cheeks, not from pain this time, but from joy and surprise. Tom couldn't wait anymore. He turned to David in the office. "David, bring me Sarah's employment form. I need to know where she stays. I'm going to see her now." David nodded. "I was waiting for this moment." Minutes later, Tom drove himself in his white SUV straight to Sarah's compound. He got down and rushed in. The small room was filled with silence when he entered. Sarah looked up slowly. She was weak, but her eyes were wide with shock. "Tom?" she whispered. He walked straight to her, bent down and gently carried her in his arms. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have waited this long." He turned to her father. "Sir, please let me take you and Molly with us. I'll make sure she gets proper care." Sarah's father couldn't believe his eyes. "God, is this real?" In Tom's mansion, doctors arrived quickly. Sarah was placed in a clean white room with soft sheets and calm music playing. Molly and her grandfather were also given their own rooms. Nurses attended to them with care. After a few days, Sarah regained her strength. Her face returned to normal and her smile came back. Tom came to her bedside and sat gently. "Sarah," he began softly,
I never meant to hurt you. I only wanted to find someone real, someone like you. I hid my identity, but my love was never fake. Sarah looked at him, then looked at her daughter who was playing on the couch, and her father who was nodding with approval. She took a deep breath and said, "Tom, I forgive you." Tom smiled in relief and hugged her tightly. Thank you so much." Weeks later, Sarah started working as the head of customer accounts at Starlight Bank. Staff who once mocked her now greeted her with respect. Karen, Amanda, and Jessica came to her office with their heads bowed. "Sarah, please," Karen began. "We're sorry for everything. Please forgive us." Sarah stood up and said softly, "I forgive you. But let this be a lesson. Don't ever look down on anyone." They nodded, tears in their eyes. 1 month later, Tom invited the entire staff and media to a grand hall inside the bank for a special announcement. He stepped forward with a big smile and said, "Today, I want to make the biggest decision of my life." He turned to Sarah and held her hand. "In front of everyone here, I want to ask, will you marry me?" Gossip filled the room. Sarah smiled brightly, tears in her eyes. "Yes, Tom, I will." The hall erupted with claps and joy. 2 months later, they got married in a beautiful garden wedding. Flowers, music, and joy filled the air. Molly wore a white dress and called Tom Daddy with joy. After the wedding, Tom made one more surprise move. He promoted Sarah again, not just as head of customer accounts, but now as head of operations for Starlight Bank. Sarah now stood where few ever reached. She wore a fitted suit, held the mic at a staff meeting, and addressed everyone. "This bank is not just a building, it is a home. Everyone, no matter their position, deserves respect. From today, if anyone is found treating a fellow staff or customer with pride or wickedness, you will lose your job. We are here to serve our community, not crush hearts." The staff clapped. And as Tom stood beside her, smiling like the proudest husband in the world, Sarah knew something deep in her heart. She didn't just find a job. She found her purpose. She found her place. And she found true love. The end. Thanks for watching.